The afternoon sun bled gold over the dusty streets of Greyfield, a small industrial town where the sound of engines was as constant as the hum of human struggle. Liam, a 17-year-old boy with oil-stained hands and a gentle smile, stepped out from the tire shop where he'd been working since morning. His shirt was soaked in sweat, his nails blackened by the day's labor, yet there was a quiet pride in his walk. He wasn't ashamed of his job. Fixing tires, patching punctures, lifting heavy rims, it wasn't much, but it was honest work. Each day's wage helped his mother put food on the table for his younger sister Emma, who was just 10. His father had passed away 2 years earlier, leaving them with debt and grief. Since then, Liam had become the man of the house, even though he still looked like a boy. "See you tomorrow, lad," called out Mr. Patel, the shop owner, wiping his hands on a rag. "See you, boss," Liam replied, smiling faintly. "Don't forget to rest that back of yours." Mr. Patel chuckled. "And you don't forget to dream. Boy, you work too hard for someone your age." Liam laughed softly, tucking his worn-out cap tighter over his head. He slung his small bag over his shoulder. It held a piece of bread wrapped in paper and an old wrench he'd forgotten to return. His bicycle was broken, so he walked home every evening, about 2 miles down the main road. It was a long, uneven stretch where trucks, bikes, and cars raced like they were trying to outrun time itself. But Liam didn't mind. The walk gave him time to think about his mother, about his sister's laughter, and sometimes, about the life he wished he could have. He dreamed of opening his own garage one day, with his name painted proudly on the wall, Liam's Auto Care. A small dream, maybe, but it was his. The air was thick with heat, carrying the smell of tar and petrol. As he walked past the crowded intersection, his shirt stuck to his back, and his feet ached. He stopped at a roadside stall to buy a cold drink. The vendor, a kind old man named Rafik, greeted him warmly. "Liam, my boy, you look like you fought a dragon and lost." Liam chuckled. "A few flat tires can be dragons too." Rafik grinned. "You have your father's humor. He used to say the same thing." Liam's eyes softened. "Yeah, I miss him." Rafik nodded, handing him the drink. "He'd be proud of you, you know? Not many boys your age take responsibility the way you do." Liam smiled faintly, taking a sip. "Thanks, Uncle Rafik." He paid the few coins he had and continued down the road. The sun was dipping lower now, painting everything in orange light. Children played near the sidewalk, stray dogs chased each other, and somewhere far off, a train wailed. It was a normal day, the kind that felt routine but safe. Until the car came down at first, it was just a distant roar, an expensive engine slicing through the noise of the street. Liam glanced behind him and saw a black luxury car weaving through the traffic at an insane speed. The driver was laughing, music blaring, the reflection of money and arrogance glinting off his sunglasses. People shouted for him to slow down, but he didn't care. The car cut across lanes, narrowly missing a motorbike. Liam froze for half a second, his body tensing as instincts screamed. He stepped to the side, but the road was narrow, and there was nowhere to go. The world became a blur of noise, the screech of tires, the sickening thud of metal against flesh, and then silence. Liam's body hit the ground hard. His bag flew open, scattering the wrench and the bread onto the road. Blood began to flow from his head, staining the cracked pavement. The rich man's car skidded to a stop a few meters away. The driver, a man in his late 30s wearing a white suit and a gold watch, stepped out. His face turned pale when he saw the boy on the ground. "Oh my God," he muttered. No, this can't be happening." A small crowd gathered. Someone shouted for help. Another person started recording with a phone. The man, his name was Adrian Cole, one of the richest businessmen in the city, looked around desperately. His car was his pride, a symbol of his success. He couldn't afford a scandal. He looked at Liam, barely breathing, his face pale and smeared with blood. Then Adrian did something unforgivable. He turned around, got back into his car, and drove away. The crowd erupted in disbelief. "He's running? That man hit him and ran." Rafik, who had heard the commotion from his stall, came rushing toward the scene. When he saw Liam lying there, his knees gave way. No, not this boy," he cried, kneeling beside him. "Someone call an ambulance, please." Liam's lips trembled as he whispered weakly, "Ma, tell Ma I'm coming home. Rafik held his hand, tears filling his old eyes. "Stay with me, son. You'll be fine. You'll be fine." But the boy's voice faded into silence as the ambulance siren finally approached at the small public hospital. The lights flickered weakly as nurses rushed him into the emergency room. His mother arrived minutes later, barefoot and shaking, her hands covered in flour from the kitchen. She saw her son's blood on the stretcher and collapsed to her knees. "Liam, oh God, Liam," she screamed. The doctors tried to stop the bleeding, but the injuries were severe. Broken ribs, internal hemorrhage, head trauma. For hours, the hallway echoed with the sound of machines and whispered prayers. Emma clung to her mother's sari, crying silently. "Mama, will he wake up?" Her mother couldn't answer. She just held her daughter tight, trembling uncontrollably. By midnight, the doctor stepped out with tired eyes. "He's alive," he said quietly, "but he's in a coma. We don't know for how long." The words fell heavy, like a curse. Rafik stood beside the mother, his face solemn. "Who did this?" he asked. People said it was some rich man, replied a nurse. He ran away before police came. Rafik clenched his fists. He left that boy to die. The next morning, newspapers carried the story. Tire shop boy hit by unknown car driver escapes. But Adrian Cole's name wasn't there. Money had a way of washing sins clean. Meanwhile, in a silent hospital room, Liam lay still, his world dark, his dreams paused. His mother sat beside him, whispering prayers, day after day. Emma drew pictures of him fixing tires, hoping he'd open his eyes. But the days turned into weeks. And the man who caused it all lived his life untouched, his guilt buried beneath champagne and city lights. But fate has its own sense of justice, and when the wheels of karma begin to turn, even the richest man can't outrun them forever. Rain tapped against the hospital window as if time itself refused to move forward. It had been for long months since Liam's accident. Machines still hummed beside his bed, their rhythm the only proof that he was alive. His mother Anna had stopped counting days. Each sunrise felt the same. Emma, now quieter, had learned to do her homework beside her brother's bedside, whispering stories as if her words could guide him back home. The room smelled of antiseptic and wilted flowers. Nurses came and went, their faces soft with pity. They'd grown used to the boy who never woke, but life outside the hospital didn't wait. The tire shop had to hire someone else. Bills stacked up at home. Anna started working as a cleaner in the hospital itself, sweeping corridors during the night shift so she could stay close to Liam. Sometimes she'd sit beside him after her shift ended, her hands trembling as she touched his face. "Liam," she whispered, "if you can hear me, please, just open your eyes. We're waiting, my boy." But he did in single quotes T. Until one night, something changed. The power had gone out again. A storm raged over Grayfield, the lights flickering on and off. Anna was mopping the hallway when she heard it, a faint beeping from Liam's room, faster than usual. She dropped the mop and ran, her heart hammering inside. The machines screamed in alarm. The nurse rushed in, calling for the doctor. And then, amidst the chaos, Liam's fingers twitched. Just once, but enough for Anna to see. He moved. My son moved. The doctor leaned over, checking the monitors. He's responding. Stay back, ma'am. For the first time in months, Liam's eyelids fluttered. His breathing grew shallow, uneven. Slowly, painfully, he opened his eyes. The light blinded him, and the world came rushing back like a nightmare he couldn't escape. Mom, his voice was weak, broken. Anna gasped, covering her mouth. Oh my God, Liam. She fell to her knees beside him, sobbing. You're back, my son. You're back. The doctor smiled faintly. Welcome back, young man. You gave us quite a scare. But waking up was only the beginning of another kind of pain. Liam couldn't move his left leg properly. The bones had healed wrong. His ribs still ached, and the scar on his forehead burned when touched. He had no memory of the impact, just the sound of a roaring engine and the flash of blinding light. Who hit me? He asked one evening. Anna hesitated. She didn't want to fill his heart with anger. Not yet. We don't know, son. The man ran away. Liam stared at the ceiling, silent. Inside him, something cold began to stir. He just left me there? Yes, she whispered. But don't think about that now. You need to heal. But healing is difficult when injustice sits like a stone on your chest. Every night, Liam dreamt of headlights, of laughter fading into the dark. Meanwhile, across the city, Adrian Cole was living as if nothing had happened. His company, Cole Motors, had just won a government contract. He was on the cover of business magazines, smiling the perfect image of success. Yet sometimes, late at night, he'd wake in a cold sweat, the image of blood on the road flashing in his mind. He'd pour himself a drink and whisper, "It was an accident. I didn't mean it. But guilt doesn't fade, it festers. And soon, fate decided it was time to collect. Liam spent 3 more months in the hospital before he could finally return home. He walked with a limp now, using a stick Rafik had carved for him. The neighborhood children watched quietly as he passed. The boy who'd been hit and still lived out at home. Things were different. The laughter was gone. His mother smiled less. But Emma, she still drew pictures for him. One day she showed him a crayon drawing. A car, a boy, and an angel above them. Is that me? He asked softly. She nodded. That's you. The angel kept you safe. He hugged her tightly, but tears burned his eyes. Days passed, and anger began to grow inside him like a slow fire. He wanted to know who did this, who had broken his body and walked away. Then one afternoon, while he was at Rafik's stall, a man approached a taxi driver named Murad who had seen the accident that night. You're Liam, right? Murad asked quietly. Yes, I saw what happened that day. I was there. Liam froze. You saw the car? Murad nodded. A black Bentley, new model, license plate, Sechi. The driver was a rich guy, Adrian Cole, I think his name was. He didn't even look back. Drove off like you were nothing. The name struck like lightning. Liam's jaw clenched. Are you sure? I swear on my life, boy. Liam sat still for a long time, staring into the distance. The noise of the market faded, and all he could hear was his own heartbeat. Adrian Cole, the man whose cars he used to dream of fixing, whose ads played on TV showing luxury and perfection. That same man had nearly killed him and never looked back. That night, Liam couldn't sleep. The rain fell again, and the wind howled outside his small window. He sat on his bed, staring at his reflection in the cracked mirror. The boy he saw was different, the innocence gone, replaced by something harder. Colder, he whispered to himself. He took everything from me, my health, my peace, my future. But he doesn't get to walk away. His hands trembled as he gripped the edge of the bed. He'll know what it feels like to lose everything too. The next few weeks, Liam began to gather information. He couldn't afford revenge and money, but he had patience. He learned that Adrian Cole's company owned several car showrooms around the city. He even donated to charity sometimes, mostly for publicity. Liam started showing up near one of the showrooms, watching, listening, learning. He saw Adrian's car, the same black Bentley, shining under showroom lights, its body flawless. But Liam could still see his blood on it, invisible to everyone else. One day, he slipped inside the showroom posing as a cleaner. His legs still hurt, but his eyes burned with purpose. Adrian walked past him once, surrounded by reporters. His voice was smooth, confident. "We believe in speed, power, and precision," he said, flashing a grin. Liam's hand tightened around the mop handle. Speed, power, precision. The same words that had nearly ended his life. He whispered under his breath, "You believe in power? Then you'll fall by it too." That night when he returned home, his mother noticed something different in him. "Liam, you've been quiet. What's going on?" He forced a small smile. "Just thinking about work, Ma." But she looked into his eyes and saw the truth. A storm forming where once there was only calm. "Promise me something," she said softly. "Whatever you're thinking, don't let anger take you. It'll eat your soul before it hurts anyone else." Liam turned away. "Sometimes, Ma. Anger's all I have left." She didn't answer, she just prayed silently. Weeks passed, and Liam began to plan. Slowly, carefully. He didn't want to kill Adrian, not yet. He wanted him to feel, to lose control of the world he thought he owned. He started leaking small details to a local journalist. Photos, tips, whispers of corruption in Adrian's company. It started as rumors, but soon, the media began asking questions. Cole Motors accused of tax fraud. Whistleblower exposes luxury car scam. Adrian's perfect image began to crack. He fired employees, shouted at journalists. And for the first time in years he felt fear. But Liam wasn't done. He wanted Adrian to see him, to remember. One rainy evening, Liam waited outside the Cole Motors headquarters. He leaned on his stick, his face half hidden beneath a hood. When Adrian's car pulled up, Liam stepped into the street, just like that night. The headlights flashed across his face. Adrian hit the brakes hard, panic flashing in his eyes. Liam looked straight at him. That same calm, emotionless stare. Adrian got out, trembling slightly. "Who the hell are you? You trying to die, kid?" Liam smiled faintly. "You don't remember me?" Adrian frowned, confused, then recognition flickered. The scar, the limp, the eyes, his breath caught. "You, Yes," Liam said quietly. "I'm the boy you left bleeding on the road." Adrian's face went pale. "I didn't mean it was dark. I panicked." Liam stepped closer. "You didn't panic when you drove away. You panicked when people started watching? That's who you are, a man scared of being caught." Adrian looked around nervously. "What do you want, money? I'll pay you anything." Liam's smile faded. "You think everything can be bought? But not this." He dropped something on the ground, a small USB drive. "That's everything your company's been hiding. The world will know tomorrow." Adrian's eyes widened. You did this." Liam nodded. "You took my life once. Now I'm taking yours, piece by piece." He turned and walked away slowly, his limp echoing on the wet road. Adrian shouted after him, but his voice drowned beneath the storm. That night, Adrian Cole's empire began to crumble. The leaks spread online. The government launched an investigation. Investors pulled out. His name, once shining, became a headline of disgrace. He sat in his mansion, staring at his reflection in a glass of whiskey. For the first time he felt the same helplessness Liam once did. And deep down, he knew the boy he left on the road had come back. The world turned against Adrian Cole faster than he could have imagined, one by one. Newspapers that once praised him now tore his name apart. Business tycoon under investigation. Cole Motors faces corruption scandal. The city's golden man had become its latest villain. He stopped going to the office. His investors stopped answering calls. His wife, who had married him for his wealth, left with their children and a lawyer. Every luxury he'd ever built, the cars, the mansion, the fame, began slipping away like sand through his fingers. Adrian sat alone in his study, the walls closing in. He hadn't slept for days. Bottles of whiskey littered the floor. He stared at a newspaper headline with trembling hands. And in the corner of his mind, one image refused to fade, a boy's scarred face, standing in the rain whispering, "You took my life once. Now I'm taking yours." Liam, meanwhile, he watched everything unfold from a distance. He saw the headlines, the fall, the public humiliation. It should have made him happy. It did, at first, but only for a moment, because revenge doesn't heal wounds. It only numbs them. And when the numbness fades, the pain comes back sharper than ever. He still limped, still woke up at night hearing the screech of tires. Sometimes he'd look in the mirror and not recognize the person staring back. The soft smile he once had was gone, replaced by hollow eyes. Rafik noticed it first. "You've changed, boy," he said one evening as Liam stood quietly near the stall. "I see anger where there used to be hope." Liam didn't answer. He just stared at the passing cars, the headlights flashing like ghosts. Rafik sighed. "Revenge burns hot, Liam, but when it's done, it leaves you cold." Liam's voice was low, steady. "He left me to die, uncle. My mother cried every night. My sister grew up afraid. And he drank champagne." "I know," Rafik said softly, "but justice and revenge are not the same." Liam turned away, his jaw tightening. "Maybe not, but he needs to understand what it feels like to lose everything. Then maybe I'll feel alive again." In the weeks that followed, Adrian's downfall deepened. The government froze his accounts. Protesters gathered outside his once prestigious showroom. Former employees spoke out against him. He tried to reach out to friends, but none answered. The rich do not comfort the fallen. They only step aside to avoid the dirt. One night, unable to bear it, Adrian drove out of the city, not in his Bentley, but in an old car he'd borrowed from a security guard. The rain poured again, as if mocking him with memories of the night. He destroyed another life. He parked near the same stretch of road where it had happened. The broken street lights still flickered. The asphalt still bore faint scars from that night's skid. He stepped out, soaked to the bone, whispering, "I'm sorry. Whoever you were, I'm sorry." But some apologies come too late. A sound echoed through the rain footsteps. Slow, deliberate. Adrian turned, and his breath caught. Liam was standing there, hood pulled low, walking stick tapping against the wet road. Adrian's voice cracked. "You told me. Why are you here?" Liam stopped a few feet away, his eyes unreadable. "You came back? Guess this road calls both of us." Adrian swallowed hard. "You've destroyed me already. What more do you want?" Liam's expression didn't change. "I want you to remember. Every time you close your eyes, I want you to see me lying there on the ground, the boy you didn't even check if he was breathing." I panicked. Adrian whispered, "You think I'm proud of what I did? I live with it every day." "Do you?" Liam's voice hardened. "You had money, power. You buried your guilt under it. You lived while I struggled to walk again. You slept in silk sheets while my mother cried in a hospital corridor." Adrian's eyes filled with tears. "What do you want me to do, Liam? Tell me. I'll do anything." For a moment, silence hung between them, broken only by the rain. Then Liam stepped closer, his voice trembling. "Tell the truth. To everyone. Admit what you did. Let the world know who you really are." Adrian shook his head slowly. "They'll destroy me completely." Liam's jaw clenched. "They already have, but you still have a chance to be human, something you weren't that night." Adrian dropped to his knees, the rain soaking through his shirt. "I'm sorry. I can't change the past." Liam's face twitched, a flash of pain and fury colliding. "Neither can I," he whispered. He turned to leave, but then something in Adrian snapped. Maybe it was pride, or fear, or the unbearable weight of guilt. He reached out, grabbing Liam's arm. "You think you're better than me now? Huh, you ruined me." Liam stumbled, nearly losing balance. "Let go of me." But Adrian's grip tightened, desperate, angry, lost. "You don't know what it's like to lose everything." Liam looked straight into his eyes. "I do. Because of you." In that instant, Adrian lunged, maybe to grab him again, maybe to plead, but his foot slipped on the wet road. There was the roar of an approaching truck, headlights slicing through the rain, and thawed, time froze. Liam watched in shock as Adrian's body hit the ground, lifeless, broken, motionless. The truck screeched to a halt, the driver jumping out in horror. People ran from nearby houses, shouting. Liam just stood there, soaked, staring at the man who had once left him lying in the same place. The irony was cruel, almost poetic. The road had claimed its debt. Hours later, the police arrived. The truck driver was taken away, shaking. They found Liam still there, silent, his eyes hollow. One officer recognized him. "Hey, you're the boy from that old case, right?" Liam nodded weakly. The officer looked at the covered body. "That's Adrian Cole. My God, it's like fate brought him back here." "Fate, or something darker," Liam whispered. "No one escapes what they've done." The officer studied him, uncertain whether to feel pity or fear. Days later, newspapers exploded again. Disgraced businessman dies in road accident, same spot where he once hit a boy. The world called it coincidence. Some called it karma. But for Liam, it wasn't that simple. He returned home in silence. His mother embraced him tightly when she saw his wet clothes and haunted eyes. "It's over," she said softly. "Let it go now." But he couldn't. The image wouldn't leave him, the sound of the thud, the sight of Adrian's face before the light went out. He had wanted revenge. He had wanted justice. But what he felt now wasn't peace, it was emptiness. He sat alone that night, staring at his hands. They trembled not from fear, but from realization. When you chase darkness too long, it starts to live inside you. A few days later, Liam went back to the tire shop. Mr. Patel welcomed him quietly, no questions asked. He started working again. Slow, careful, deliberate. He patched tires, lifted tools, wiped sweat from his brow. The ordinary sounds of work returned, the hiss of air, the clank of metal. One afternoon, a little boy came in with his bicycle tire punctured. Liam knelt to fix it. "Thank you. Bye," the boy said shyly. Liam smiled faintly. "Be careful on the road, okay? I will As the boy left, Liam stood for a moment, staring at the road outside. The sun was setting, not in fire, but in soft gold. Maybe life wasn't about forgetting pain. Maybe it was about surviving it and not becoming the monster that hurt you, he whispered to himself. It ends here. That evening, he visited Rafik one last time. The old man looked up from his stall. "You look lighter," he said. Liam nodded. "Maybe because I finally stopped carrying the past." Rafik smiled gently. "Then maybe now you can start living again." Liam glanced at the horizon, the same road where everything had started. The wind was calm, the street empty. He took a deep breath. "Yeah, I think I can." Morning sunlight crept through the curtains, spilling warmth into the small, worn-out house on Grayfield's edge. For the first time in years, the light felt gentle, not harsh, not accusing, just peaceful. Liam sat by the window, his leg propped on a wooden stool, sipping tea that Emma had made for him. Outside, the neighborhood was waking up, vendors calling, buses rumbling, kids laughing on their way to school. Ordinary sounds, the kind he used to take for granted before everything changed. "Does it still hurt?" Emma asked softly, pointing to his leg. He smiled faintly. "Sometimes, but not like before." She nodded, curling up beside him. "Mama says you're going back to work again." "Yeah, I'll help Mr. Patel part-time." Emma grinned. "You're like a superhero now." He chuckled. "Superheroes don't limp." She looked up at him. "Maybe the good ones do." That made him laugh quietly. It was the first real laugh he'd had in months. Later that day, Liam walked slowly through the familiar streets, the same ones he used to travel after work, the same road where fate had tested him. But this time, his steps weren't heavy. The weight of revenge had left him. People still whispered when they saw him, "That's the boy who survived," they said, but Liam didn't mind. He wasn't the boy who was hit anymore. He was the boy who kept walking. At Rafik's stall, the old man waved him over. "Ah, my fighter returns." Liam smiled. "Always." They sat together, the aroma of cardamom tea mixing with the scent of fresh tires and dust. Rafik studied him for a long time. "You've got peace in your eyes again," he said. "I think I finally made peace with the past," Liam replied. "I kept thinking revenge would fix something, but it didn't." Rafik nodded. "Justice and peace come from the same place, but revenge comes from pain. The trick is knowing when to stop." "I almost didn't," Liam admitted. "For a while, I became like him, angry, blind. I thought making him suffer would make me free. But when I saw him die, I realized I didn't feel stronger. I just felt empty." The old man smiled sadly. "That's because you're human, not cruel." They drank in silence for a moment, the city humming around them. In the weeks that followed, Liam began to rebuild his life, one small step at a time. He worked at the tire shop again, slower but wiser. Mr. Patel treated him like a son, making sure he didn't overwork his leg. Customers would often recognize him and quietly press an extra note into his hand. He never accepted it. Pride still mattered to him. Every evening, he'd walk home as the sun dipped low, the golden light turning the world soft and forgiving. He noticed things he'd never seen before. The way sunlight bounced off puddles after rain. The way his sister's laughter echoed through the narrow lanes. The kindness in strangers' eyes. Pain had taught him something no comfort ever could, that life was fragile, precious, and worth protecting. One afternoon, he stopped by the cemetery on the edge of town. The grass was tall, and the wind whispered softly through the trees. He walked to a simple gravestone, Adrian Cole, freshly placed, a few wilted flowers at its base. For a long moment, Liam just stood there. Then he knelt slowly, laying a small white daisy beside the grave. "I didn't come to curse you," he said quietly. "You already paid for what you did. Maybe that's how life works. It finds its own way to balance things." He looked at the name again. "I wanted you to feel pain. But now, I just hope you found peace. Because I finally did." The wind blew gently, carrying away his words. He turned to leave. But before he did, he whispered one last thing. "If you do wrong, it always comes back. Not because of fate, but because hearts remember what they've done." That night, back home, Liam sat outside under the stars with his mother. The air was cool, the world quiet. Anna looked at her son, older now, calmer, with eyes that had seen too much, yet still held kindness. "You've grown, Liam," she said softly. "Your father would be proud." He smiled faintly. "I used to think being strong meant fighting back. Now, I think it means forgiving and moving on." She nodded. "That's how you start living again." Emma ran out with a small lantern in her hand. "Look, fireflies," she shouted. They laughed as the little lights danced around them. For a moment, everything felt right again. Simple, human, alive. Months passed. The tire shop expanded. Mr. Patel finally retired and handed it over to Liam. A new signboard went up. "Liam's Auto Care Honesty keeps the wheels turning." Every time Liam looked at it, he felt his father's pride and his mother's faith. He hired 2 helpers, boys from the same poor neighborhood, and treated them with kindness, making sure they never worked more than they had to. Sometimes, when a rich car pulled up, the memory of that black Bentley flickered in his mind. But it no longer hurt. It was just a story from another life. One evening, as the sun sank low, a young man stopped by his shop with a broken motorbike. He looked anxious, apologetic. "Sorry, bye. I was speeding. Guess karma caught up." Liam smiled gently. "Happens to all of us." As he fixed the bike, the boy asked, "You really believe in karma?" Liam wiped his hands on a rag and looked up. "I don't know if it's karma or just life, but I've learned one thing. Whatever you send out, comes back to you. So send something good." The boy nodded thoughtfully. "I'll remember that." Liam smiled, and for the first time, he realized he meant those words. That night, after closing the shop, he walked to the quiet hill that overlooked the town. The lights below shimmered like stars fallen to earth. He sat on a rock, breathing in the cool air, and thought about everything: the pain, the rage, the lessons. He realized that he hadn't just survived that accident. He'd been reborn by it. If Adrian's sin had been arrogance, Liam's redemption was empathy. He understood now that every act, good or bad, ripples through the world. Finding its way back, he whispered softly into the night. "The wheels stop for no one, but how we drive, that's what decides where we end up." A tear rolled down his cheek, not of sadness, but of release. Somewhere in the distance, thunder rumbled, not violent, just a soft echo, as if the world itself sighed in relief. Liam stood, picked up his walking stick, and began the slow walk home, one step, one breath, one heartbeat at a time. Behind him, the wind carried a whisper through the empty road. If you do bad to someone, it comes back to you. And for the first time since that dark night, Liam felt truly free.